Hi, I'm Ryan Szymanski, curator for Battleship New Jersey Museum and Memorial, and today we've got a video that answers another one of the common questions that we get asked, namely, why is the battleship built in the way that it's built? Why is it built in the order that you build it in? Modern ships are built completely differently from New Jersey, and we had the fortune about a year ago now, to go down and see the submarine USS New Jersey, SSN 796, under construction. And there at Newport News, they had a number of submarines in various stages of construction that are like built in whole blocks. And that's very different from how New Jersey is built. So, first of all, there are three main ways of building ships in naval history that I can think of. So the first way goes all the way back to the ancient Mediterranean world, where you build the ship keel first, outside up, and then you install frames on the inside. The Romans, the Carthaginians, the various Greek city-states are all able to build hundreds of ships in a couple of months and operate them as a single city-state as opposed to an entire nation. So clearly there's some merit to this, but also to plank a ship from the sides up means a lot of shaping of that wood. And it required a very literate workforce that could design things using math and write what this piece needed to be cut into so that various laborers could make those cuts. But it was very effective for thousands of years. As you transition out of the Dark Ages and into a more modern time, you start to reverse how you're building it. You still lay the keel first, but then you build the frames, which are cut to size, and bend the planks over that, as opposed to cutting the planks to size and then putting frames inside of it for a little bit extra strength. And this starts with early wooden artillery type based warships and continues all the way through World War II construction. And during World War II, you start to see ships being built in modules where you can assemble these ships in a variety of places and then throw the various modules together to make a completed ship relatively quickly. Now, this is not done on New Jersey. She's too complex. But now, getting to modern shipbuilding like the submarine New Jersey, you start to see them build entire sections of the ship, basically as big as you can move them from one warehouse to the next. And then you just join them together, attach everything, and you're ready to go. While some components of Battleship New Jersey are modular, for example, the gun turrets are built in the turret shop and then disassembled and reassembled on the ship, most of her is built in this traditional style. And that is expensive. You've heard me refer to her as a gold plater before. New Jersey is not a mass-producible ship. We only built 4 Iowa-class battleships during World War II, whereas we're turning out hundreds of destroyers and submarines and thousands of transport ships like the Liberty ships. As a gold plater, it cost over $100 million just to build the hull of the ship, and another $100 million just for the guns and armor that gets attached to the ship later on, which is several $billion in today's money. To buy $100,000 worth of goods in 1940, you'd need the equivalent of 1.5 million in today's dollars. That's why inflation is a retirement, 401k, and peace of mind killer. Forget 10 to 20 years from now. High inflation is a problem today. How much will your investing portfolio be worth tomorrow? But here's the good news. Our friends at Masterworks have been helping tens of thousands of investors just like you, paying out tens of millions in returns last year alone. No wonder their art investing platform has been featured everywhere from CNN to the stock exchange. Now, I was like you. I had no idea art could be such a financial asset. But Masterworks turns paintings from history's greatest artists, like Picasso's and Monet, into an actual investment, and for a fraction of the full price. Their site explains the process clearly, but here's the best part. Every one of Masterworks' sales have been profitable for their investors, with the last three delivering 14%, 35%, and 10% net returns. No wonder there's a wait list to get started. And Masterworks paintings have sold out in minutes, but you can get special access to skip their wait list right now just by using the link below. Jersey, the first thing built was not actually the keel. That was the first part of the hull that was laid, but the first things that started production were the really long lead items. Things like the 16-inch gun barrel here. The gun barrels take years to build. Likewise, the really thick face-hardened armor has extremely long lead times, and things like the ship's engines require a lot of time to get them built before they can actually go to the shipyard and be installed. So these various products are started all around the country and are actually ordered before the money's fully appropriated, just so that it is ready to go by the time you get to that point in the construction process. So while these various things are taking place all over the country, and parts for Iowa-class battleships came out of at least 28 different states, while this is being done, the shipyard finally starts to assemble the pieces. And so they start with laying the keel, and the keel and framing and shell plating is not particularly thick steel, so that's pretty standard stuff that they can get and cut to size and just rivet or weld together. So you start obviously with the bottom of the ship, laying the ship's keel, doing the bottom, and then starting to build up the frames in the side. It's not like the old wooden ships of the line where you basically fully build the ribs of your ship, your frames, and then plank onto that later. Because the frames come in sections that are riveted or welded together, you can really go up the side all at one pace with both the framing and the shell plating. While you are building the sides of the ship, before you've even installed the deck, the various pieces of critical equipment, such as the engines, are already being installed into them. The guns are a little bit different. Like I said, they're built in a warehouse, and then they're brought out and they're craned in the largest possible pieces that the crane can assemble. And because they're slotting into a big socket, the barbette, they're coming in, that space is just left hollow as the ship is being built. In fact, you'll often see a roof or a dome built over the barbette during the construction process, so during rain you're not getting water in there. Even comparatively smaller components, such as the equipment in the machine shop, was most likely installed before the main deck went overhead. Much of the rest of the equipment of the ship was designed to be broken down into 24-inch pieces so that it could fit through standard doors and hatches on the ship to be replaced as needed. Battleship New Jersey is really built at the confluence of several different shipbuilding innovations. Things such as the way that you're producing the ship, from the keel up like New Jersey to the modular system we use today, is already being pioneered with, as are techniques such as welding versus riveting. This is possible because New Jersey is built here on the Delaware River, where a series of shipyards are building 1/3 of the warships that the United States will use during World War II. 4 of the battleships built during the war, South Dakota, Washington, New Jersey, and Wisconsin, are all built here on the Delaware River, as are a number of aircraft carriers and other ships. Every size of ship you can think of, between the Philadelphia Navy Yard, where Battleship New Jersey is built, Cramp's Shipyard, where boats like the submarine Lionfish at Battleship Cove are built, all the way to New York Ship, the remnants of which are still behind us here in Camden, New Jersey, where ships like the cruiser Indianapolis and the battleship South Dakota and the large cruisers Alaska and Guam are built, along with the Independence-class carriers. The Delaware turned out to be the perfect place for warship construction because, for one thing, you're pretty far up the river where you're well protected against enemy attacks. For another thing, you don't have bridges like the Brooklyn Bridge in New York limiting the size of your construction. You have a large workforce in the Philadelphia Camden area, and because there have been shipyards here literally since the founding of the country and before, that workforce already has a lot of the necessary skills to build ships. And finally, perhaps most importantly, much of the iron and steel production, the metalworking in this country, takes place in this part of the world. So for building a ship that's going to be over 45,000 tons of steel, it's important to build it near those steel mills like Millville, Carnegie, and Bethlehem Steel. And ultimately, that's why Camden was selected as the home for Battleship New Jersey, because it ties into the shipbuilding past here on the Delaware River, which now really is in the past. There aren't that many shipbuilders left here. All of the major Navy yards are gone from this area. So, to tie it back into the original question, the short answer, now that we've gotten all the background, why was Battleship New Jersey built in the order she was? It all has to do with the lead time of the items. To make sure that everything gets to the shipyard as is needed. She's not the first battleship built. We know how long it takes to make a gun barrel. So things like the gun barrels and the barrels are ordered ahead of time. But then because she's such a massive construction project, they go with what they knew as opposed to trying the new and innovative techniques that are used through to this day. What do you think is better, the keel-first construction method of the Iowa-class battleships or the modular methods used today? While it was cool to see the submarine Arizona modules already mostly intact, the keel was not laid officially until close to a year after we saw them. Meanwhile, the submarine New Jersey, despite being built modularly, will be under construction longer than both Battleship New Jerseys combined, despite having less steel go into the construction. So which way do you think is better? Let us know in the comment section down below. Battleship New Jersey receives operating support from the New Jersey Department of State, as well as from a number of businesses and private individuals like yourselves. In particular, we appreciate the support from Masterworks. Remember to check out the link in the description below for ways to save up enough money to build your own battleship or retire comfortably. You can also support us by liking, sharing, and subscribing so more people find about the museum and the channel. Thanks for watching.